I ask you a question? Are you ready to get and keep momentum in your business? I hope so, because it's Penny Elliott here, your host to having the perfect mix of the woo with the do. If you're ready to create the life that you want through a business designed by you, then tune in. So welcome everyone to the Get Momentum for Online Entrepreneurs podcast with me, Penny Elliott. This is the show where we match the woo with the do. So it's your perfect mix of mindset and strategy to have fast success in your online business so that you can finally live the life that you really thought you were going to when you first started your business. And we're kicking off the podcast series, the podcast with the Hit Refresh on 2020 Summit. And today I have the amazing Lisa. And I know Lisa from several courses that I have done. And she's going to tell you her formal introduction. But the thing that really struck me was that she's really raw, down to earth, and was doing a body comp. And it's actually kind of a bit of a secret of mine that I've always wanted to do one of those since I was like really crazy young. I'm thinking like 14 or 15. And the only thing that's really put me off it is I cannot stand chicken and broccoli and only eating that.
Well, the fact that you believe that I lived on chicken and broccoli shows that there's a lot more that you can step into, because I actually had chocolate all the way through.
And also it shows you that how body competitions have changed from when I was, 14 or 15, when there was no supplements or anything like that that can help you get you through. So anyway, please tell us your formal introduction, what you do, and how you help people.
Well, first, thank you for inviting me on and having me as a part of this series. So my name is Lisa Carpenter, and I am a transformational coach and remote emotional resiliency expert. So I help high-achieving, driven, ambitious women make their physical and emotional well-being a priority. I help them step into slowing down so they can do less better and really understand what it means to make themselves a priority in their lives, because most of the women that I work with are really so focused on the achievement and the thing that they want, the outcome that they're trying to create, that they forget about the role that they play in that, and how taking care of themselves really needs to be a priority, because you can't get to the outcome you want by pushing, driving, and burning yourself out.
100% on the same page, because especially when you're running an online business, the buck stops with you. No matter how big your team is, no matter how many systems and automations and all those great things that I love doing, but the buck stops with you. And if you don't prioritize your own health and your own well-being, then your business is definitely going to suffer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let alone all the outside stuff. So I guess that leads quite well into the first question that I wanted to cover in this summit, and especially with the environment that we're in now. I think that self-care sort of went like whoosh, out the window and down to the bottom of the list, especially because a lot of people's self-care was external, like a hairdo, or go to the gym or something like that. And now with the current environment, how everyone has been in some form of lockdown, that's really been polarized. So I'd love to hear what it is that you're doing with your business and your life as we're sort of coming out the other side to hit refresh on 2020.
Well, this is why I do what I do, because the truth is your self-care should never go to the bottom of the pile, regardless of circumstances. And this time in life, COVID is giving us an opportunity to really look at the patterns of behavior that we're caught in that aren't serving us. And by shifting into the doing more because COVID hit, it actually doesn't help you create longevity as an entrepreneur, because this is a marathon. And if you're not taking care of yourself, how are you going to have the endurance for what's coming after? Because we know we're not going back to the way things were. That's not possible, right? That's like saying we could go back to pre-9/11. I mean, we're still taking our shoes off at the airport. So things are going to be different. And if you can't take care of yourself through all circumstances in life without getting caught in the doing, because the doing is a numbing behavior that pulls us out of actually feeling what we're feeling. So we get busy so we don't have to feel the stress, the anxiety, the grief, the worry about what's going on in the world. So in terms of, what's changed in my business, absolutely nothing. Other than the fact that my family is home all the time, right? Like they're home all the time. So I'm like, I'm going to work. So they're all on vacation. And I'm like, I'm still going to work. Nothing has changed in my business. I didn't pivot. I didn't drop anything. I didn't start working more, because the truth is, before COVID hit, we never have certainty as entrepreneurs. So you have to build your business based on knowing that uncertainty is part of it. Businesses go up, businesses go down, things happen. But if you constantly, when something external happens, you suddenly hit the panic button and shift or pivot or go to work harder, thinking that that's going to solve the problem, there's a bigger problem that you need to take a step back and look at.
I love that. So you should never build your business on certainty. I love how you said that. Obviously, I help female entrepreneurs in their sales and to have accelerated growth. And too many times people think that sales is a month on month on month on month on month on month. You just get better and better and better and better. And it's actually quite a shock, or it's a bit of a raw truth when I say, well, no, you can't expect that month on month on month. You need to bank it when it comes in, and then know that you will have some dry months where you have to give, and serve your clients, and actually that the process is something you look at year on year, not, and then the longer you're in it, it's 3 years versus 3 years.
Right.
It's,
the most successful businesses out there have ups and downs in their financials, right?
Yeah.
All of them. So COVID or not, crisis or not, being an entrepreneur means that you are constantly faced with uncertainty. All of us, even if you're not an entrepreneur, there's uncertainty, but we want to try and believe like there isn't. We want to believe that it's this straight line from point A to point B. And it's not like that with anything. It's not like that in parenting. It's not like that in your business. It's not like that in your relationship. But your body isn't like that, right? People think, well, I'll just lose weight and it'll be from point A to point B. It doesn't work that way.
No.
So it really is. So many entrepreneurs have this skewed vision of what growing a business really looks like, as opposed to what it's actually like. And even if you're building your sales and your profits and your revenue every month, have you really looked at how you are in relationship with your money? Are you a good steward of your money? Do you consider yourself a financial CEO? Because if you're trying to make more money and more sales, but you haven't actually looked at how you show up in relationship to your money, you'll still struggle, COVID or not. So again, when you eliminate the external circumstances and you really get radically honest with yourself about the things, the stories and beliefs that you're holding on the inside that are preventing your success, right? Because so many people are thinking, well, my business is going to do this because of COVID.
Yeah.
When you understand and work from the inside out, you become bulletproof. It doesn't mean you're not going to have ups and downs, but you trust yourself to always be resilient, to know how to work through things and to know how to ride the wave.
Yeah, I love that. Teaching yourself to be resilient is so important. And so many people say, oh, I am resilient, or I am not resilient. I can cope, or you can't. And it's about teaching yourself that you can have those tools if you need them and when you need them. And I loved how you touched on being a really good steward of your money. And I always align it to toothpaste, right? So when you have a tube of toothpaste, you give a new tube, you and squeeze it on, you brush your teeth, and you have a big blob on your toothbrush, you're like, yeah, this is awesome. Oops, a bit went down the sink, no problems. Okay, just wash that down, and you carry on. When you get to the end of the toothpaste, you squeeze it really hard, you get the toothbrush and you squeeze it across the top of it, and you get this tiny little bit out, you're like, oh, that'll do, and nothing goes down the sink. And it's exactly the same with people and their money. So when they have like really big sales months, they're like, splash out, I can squeeze that toothpaste tube and a bit fell out. Nope, so I didn't have that, I didn't worry about that. And they don't worry. And then when it's really months of austerity, they try and squeeze as much as they can. So it's really important that you think of your money as not a finite, infinite resource, and something that you should always be thinking about. How can I be more frugal, or whatever word you'd like to use, but how can I be a better steward of my money?
Right.
Making sure that you're always at that view, regardless of how much is coming in that month.
Exactly. It's looking at your pattern of, are you running a pattern of feast or famine? And this happens with women around their bodies and their weight, food as well, like this pattern of feast or famine. And when we can really break that pattern and we can allow ourselves to be present with our money, doesn't mean being frugal. It means being intentional. Same as when we're taking care of our bodies. Are we being intentional about how we're taking care of our bodies? Are we being intentional about our self-care? It really, whether it's money, food, our bodies, our relationships, it's looking at how we are in relation with those things. So it's less about those things and more about the stories that we're holding about those things.
Yeah. Can you touch on really quickly and being intentional about the eating, because like the next thing I was going to say was if you could go back to the day before lockdown, and what would you have bought or changed, both in your business and life? And obviously everyone went crazy at the supermarket and bought loads and loads of toilet paper, rice, flour, and I did see one lady in her supermarket trolley, she had like 7 boxes of Magnum ice creams. Right. And I was like, the supermarket's not going to shut, and I can guarantee they're not going to run out of Magnum ice creams. But I have found in my peer group that lots of people have actually put on a lot of weight over being in lockdown, because they've got access to this increased supply of food chain at home. And so therefore they feel like their personal self-care has gone down as well. Is that...
Well, I have a different perspective on this.
Okay.
Right? Because I actually don't believe people are gaining weight because they have an excess of food, because that food was always available before. People are gaining weight because they are eating their emotions right now. Right. So when you have somebody who entire way of coping or being resilient is based on using coping mechanisms, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's doing things in their business, their entire routine, or maybe they're a real caretaker, so they're constantly doing things for other people, and all of that has been stripped down. People are, when COVID hit, almost every single person experienced some form of trauma response. We identify trauma as like a car accident or a physical thing, but trauma is when our lives get flipped upside down. And when we experience trauma, we experience feelings of grief and sadness and fear and anxiety and worry. Yeah. And most people do not have the emotional fluency to actually be present with their emotions. When we can't be present with our emotions and how we're feeling, we will find ways to cope or numb out. Food, drinking, behaviors, over-exercising, controlling, getting busy, people-pleasing. I could go on and on and on. Everybody's got their default. And for so many women and men, from a young age, we are taught that food is comfort. Food is how we fix things. Food is a reward. So when we don't know how to be with the sadness, we literally eat to stuff it down instead of just allowing ourselves to experience the grief and the sadness, and letting it wash through us. We don't need to be afraid of our emotions. They're simply there to help guide us. But if we keep stuffing them down, they will hold you hostage, and they will create more problems, because they're like the toddler that's having the tantrum, right? Yeah. Like they're not going away. Yeah, like they're not going away. And when you actually just give them what they need, which is often most times love, compassion, presence, they settle down.
That's a great analogy, because when Josh, my little guy, has a meltdown, I don't go to the cupboard and offer him a biscuit. I just get down on the ground on my knees and just say to him, "It's okay to feel like this, let it out." And he's like gone crazy, and it's all right, it's okay. And I'm just like there for him. And then literally 2 seconds later, he's like, "Oh, tractor, 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 tractor,
Right.
tractor, tractor," and off with the tractor. And I remember I'm not very good at doing that, like just allowing the emotions. But I remember when our Prime Minister Jacinda announced that we're going into level 3 and then level 4 very, very quickly within sort of 48 hours, I just cried. I cried and cried and cried and cried. And I was like, this is so ridiculous. I'm just going to be pretty much the same as what I always am at home with my little guy. But the 6 hours of creche that he does a week was so precious to me, and I didn't realize how precious it was until all of a sudden it was gone indefinitely for like over a
Right.
month. And I thought, oh my gosh. And yeah, and I think that actually helped me feel a whole lot better
It did.
later
And,
on, because I just sat there and did it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And not judging it, right? So when we cry or we express our emotions, we don't need to judge them. We just need to allow them, understand it's a part of us that needs to be expressed, and emotions show us where our needs are not being met, right? It's a big deal when we lose things that are important to us. It is a big deal, right? I prefer to go to the gym over working out in my living room. Right? I love the environment of the gym and the feel of the gym. So even though I still train just as hard at home, I'm still just as committed. I had a lot of tears over that because it was grieving this thing that meets a very specific need in me. And when we express our emotions, what we're doing is sinking into really asking ourselves the question of what need do I need to meet and how can I meet this differently? And often grief, we can't, so in the case of the gym, I can't fill that need right now. So I have to allow myself to accept where I'm at, the fact that I have to work at home. I don't have to like it, but I accept it. But I had to grieve that. Like there's stages of grief we go through to get to acceptance. Yet so many of the women that I work with judge themselves for feeling the way they're feeling. Like, I shouldn't cry. I should be able to just get over this. I should be able to just put my head down and get through it. We offer our children compassion and grace. But then we turn around and we pick up the stick and we beat ourselves up when we're expressing emotion. Yeah. And this is what gets us in the weeds, and this is what gets us caught in our emotions and caught in behaviors that don't actually serve us or move our businesses forward.
Yeah, and I think you've pretty much answered like the next question that I like to ask is like, I like to, cut through the BS in this podcast and get momentum in your business. And what barrier have you had, or your clients, that you like to call BS on, that you could share with our listeners? And I think you've pretty much just nailed that by beating yourself.
Beating yourself up. Yeah.
I've sat on my Swiss ball howling so hard that the cat got a fright and left, because she literally hair stood on end and she took off out of my office because some ads didn't work how I wanted, so therefore I didn't get enough people into the challenge, and therefore I didn't, the whole thing was just falling over, and in my world that was just the end of the world, when really I needed to.
So there's a couple different things. As driven achievers who want to create massive momentum, we often get very, very attached to the outcome. And when we don't get it, we make it mean something. And it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. You are going to have the journey that you are going to have. But believing that if you do more, or if you got it right, or if you pushed harder, that you would get there faster, is the very thing that's stopping you from getting there.
Oh my goodness, say that again.
Right? Believing that if you push harder, try more, put your head down and get it done, that you'll get there faster. It never works that way. You are having the journey you're meant to have. So when it comes to things like being committed to your business growth, if you can focus on doing less better, which is hard for doers to wrap their head around, because the truth is, we get addicted to our doing. because it makes us believe we're getting somewhere faster, which we're not.
Mm-hmm.
Often we've attached our self-worth to our doing. So who are we if we're not doing all the things all the time? Who are we if we're not making it hard? And that's the other thing people get attached to in business, especially high achievers. We get attached to making things hard. We get attached to the struggle. We get attached to the striving because we've literally hooked our identity into that. So learning how to slow down and do less better is really the key to creating massive success. It also allows you to take better care of yourself, which is also linked to massive success. But helping women understand how to do that, because it's literally asking them to give up a part of their identity that they've been so attached to for so many years. So there are many blocks that get in our way. Mm-hmm. There are many blocks that get in our way. And that's why I'm so passionate about, doing this work from the inside out. Because for all of my years of trying and doing and pushing, it created very little momentum. But I told myself the story, it was creating momentum. It was not. When I really got committed to who I needed to be, when I really got committed to doing less, when I got committed to understanding that growing a business is really not complicated, and I was making it complicated. It's not complicated. It's just not. But I had to let go of how attached I was to all the doing and what I was making it mean. So that's a big thing for your listeners to really look at. How could they do less better? What does that even look like? How much are they committed to that they shouldn't be committed to? Mm-hmm. Right? Where can you purge?
Yes. And when I can totally relate to that, because the first group coaching program that I was part of to set up my business and really go online, I'm really heavily into triathlon, and I wanted to do a 70.3, and they were like literally saying on calls with me, they were saying, well, you'll have to give up that triathlon stuff if you want to be if you want to have a successful business. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, why would I give up the thing that I'm really passionate about to do something else that I'm passionate about? Like, I just did not connect in my head. And they were like, well, you'll need the hours. You get up at 5 to go training in the morning. You'll need to use those hours to build your business. And I was like, but if I don't get up and go for a bike ride, I'm like crabby all day. Like, there's just no way. And they were clocking 80 100-hour weeks creating their business, and sure, they were getting like faster results than I was, but I was thinking, I just really don't want to do that. I don't want to have a business if I have to give up triathlon, the thing that I've done for years and years. So I can totally relate to doing less. I probably could do even more less.
It's really looking at, what are your priorities going to be and what's important to you? What do you need to thrive, right? So you, like me, you need to move to thrive. It's just hardwired into us. Mm-hmm. When I was getting ready for my competition, though, I had to make some choices. And this is what it comes down to. Excuse me. For so many years, my business got all of me, which makes it a very codependent relationship, right? When your business gets all of you, that's not healthy right there. So when I decided to compete, it was really about how can I shift things around and move things around, because I'm not piling competing on top of my business. I have to renegotiate how I'm going to work in my business to support my goal of competing, because I spent over 180 hours getting ready to go on stage. That's no joke. Right now I'm off season. There's still a lot of hours, but I couldn't pile that on top of what I was already doing. So I had to go into my business and make some really hard decisions about, okay, how was I going to see clients differently? I closed my schedule. I didn't take on any new clients. So I made the commitment to my competition a priority while still making my business very important. Obviously, my business is important. You can't do all the things. And this is what I see with high achievers is they literally want to layer more things on top of more things and on top of more things. So doing more in the gym wasn't going to produce greater results for me on stage, right? It's, again, that intentional, what do I need to get done here and tick the boxes? Doing more in my business wasn't going to create more results or faster, better results. That is a story. So And again, it comes back to, there are some people that are going to create, they're willing to work the 80 hours and maybe they get there faster, wherever there is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at what cost? At what cost? Because I
Yeah.
work with women all the time who've crossed into that, $1 million business, and now they can't get out of bed because they've
Yeah.
sacrificed their health.
Yeah.
So was your health worth the price of the $1 million business?
Never. Well, in my
Never.
world, never, right?
Never.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it's all about know what you need to thrive in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Never compromise on that.
Yeah.
Never, ever compromise on that. Know what you need to thrive in your life. Know what you need to thrive in your business. Make those things non-negotiable, and everything else has to fit in around those. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
And right. And if you're going to commit to something else, you have to be willing to say, if I'm going to say yes to this,
Yes.
what am I going to say no to over here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's temporary.
Love that. So just to wrap up, what is the legacy that you are creating right now in the online world that makes you feel proud to leave behind?
Oh, if I can unravel one doer. So I really want women. I believe that women are going to have a tremendous impact in the world moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is 100% dependent on women getting out of their BS stories in their heads about having to do all the things all the time for everybody else and
Mm-hmm.
making themselves an afterthought. Until women recognize that making themselves a priority is truly the path to their greatest success and their greatest impact in their family, not much is going to change.
Mm.
Right? We have to get out of our stories if we want to have the impact in the world we want to have. So if I can lead women into this place of understanding that they can feel their feelings and it doesn't make them weak or needy, that it actually makes them powerful. If I can help women see that their feminine energy is actually the most powerful way that they could be in the world. We need our masculine doing energy, but if you are letting your doer run the show, you will burn yourself out. If I can help women see that rest is a business strategy,
Yes.
and that play and creativity is nurturing
Yes.
and soul-filling. If I could get women just to understand that by moving their bodies and taking care of themselves, right, physically and emotionally, would change their lives and they could change the world, then that's my legacy. So I really preach that self-care isn't something you do, it's a way of being. It's something you embody, because things we love and we value, we take care of. And if I can get more women to understand that message and really hear that, that is the legacy that I want. That's the legacy that I want to leave behind.
Amazing. And you already are. That's how I came across you. That's how I met you. That's how I continue to follow and nod my head constantly when you're saying stuff. It just
Very
looks
cool.
like I'm a nodding dog. Yes, 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 yes. I completely agree. It's amazing. And I really sleep is a massive thing in my priorities to thrive, and I just cannot reiterate how you said, do the things that makes you thrive, and also look after your body and rest. That is massive. I do not know how many women out there think that they can get things done by staying up an hour later or getting up an hour earlier, although in saying that, it is very early here today, but I did go to bed early last night to sort of to mitigate the fact that I was getting up early this morning, and really making that a priority, because how many poor decisions did you make when you were tired?
Right, that's exactly it.
Any part of your
Right.
world, you make poor decisions when you're tired.
Right. A tired brain is a real a-hole, so to speak.
Yeah.
And, we know as athletes that we don't perform at our best if we're not rested, and our body doesn't recover. Like you literally can't step into that championship status if you don't rest. My body isn't growing when I'm in the gym. My body is growing when I'm resting. Yet we take it for granted.
Yes, and it's incredible what happens when you sleep. It's more than what happens when you're awake. So
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for your time. How can people get in touch with you and tell us about your rad gift that you've got?
So I will set up a special link just for your listeners.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's going to be at lisacarpenter.ca get momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm going to be linking to is a PDF that I put together in regards to adrenal fatigue and burnout, and the signs and symptoms that women can look for and really sink into in terms of what it means to truly take care of yourself. So I will get that set up. So we'll put it at get momentum, lisacarpenter.ca/get momentum. You can also connect with me over on Instagram at Lisa Carpenter Inc. And I would love for your listeners to tune into the Full Frontal Living podcast, because that's really where I just kind of, it's messy, and I love it that way because I want to give other women permission to just say the things and do the things. So I put out a weekly podcast every week at the Full Frontal Living podcast. So that's another great place to tune in.
Amazing. So if anything has really resonated with you, either in a good way and a way that you're like, ooh, that's really uncomfortable, that is a sure sign that you definitely need to listen in to Lisa's podcast, because that is always an indicator that you need to hear more of this and explore it. It is never an indicator that you need to not tune in.
Exactly.
So make sure you head on over to Lisa. We'll pop all of those details down in the show notes. And if you're listening on the move, then you can always go and search for her in the podcast and subscribe straight away. So thank you so much for your time and for coming to us with your family all still in the house, working away, just cracking right on. It was great to have you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Penny.
Wow, what an amazing episode. Thanks for tuning in. And if you loved the Woo with the Do and want to dive deeper into how you too can get and keep momentum in your business, then please join us at pennyelliottgroup.com/consistent clients for the live training this month. It's going to be super juicy, as I'm giving you access to the only 3 daily habits and mindset tweaks you need to have consistent clients in your business forevermore. Come and join us.